freetotalk.me readers or subscribers. Today, instead of typing my blog, I decided to do a video blog with my husband. This is Felix.
What's happening?
Because it's a topic that we really both wanted to talk about, and he wants to copy me, so he decided to just come alongside. But today's topic is going to be about the love of a grandfather. And this topic came about because this past weekend we went to Delaware to go visit my mom's dad, my grandfather and his wife. And that's only a couple hours away, so we decided to come visit because they've never met my youngest son. And so we decided to take a visit up there in a weekend just to get away. And we actually enjoyed it so much, and it blessed us, it blessed the kids, and it blessed them as well. So I don't know where to start. Do you want to start?
Well, I know where I want to start. First off, I want to put a disclaimer and let everybody know I am not this dark in real life. All right, I just put it out there because I look kind of dark right now. Okay. So this combo, diving straight in, the combo kind of actually started on our way back home. Actually, a bit while we were there in Delaware, and I actually brought this topic up to my wife because I had shared with her. I was like, being here is different because for me growing up, I didn't have a grandfather right there that was just easily accessible that I could just drive to his house or he would come over or anything like that. Like I didn't experience that growing up. My mom's dad, he had committed suicide before I was born, like a year or two before I was born. So my oldest cousin, he got to meet him, but I didn't, so I know nothing. I really don't know what he smelled like, what he looked like. I didn't know nothing about it except for pictures and for a few stories, stories that families told me. And then on my father's side, I knew him, I knew of him, but he actually lived in the Virgin Islands in St. Croix. So outside of talking to him on the phone maybe once or twice, or him coming to visit the States a few times when I was younger, that's all I know of him. And he was tragically he was actually murdered back in I think maybe '95 or something like that. So again, I was young. I don't know anything of him outside of family stories. Just that little bit that I've heard and all of that. So being there, just hanging out with Ashley's grandfather, it was very engaging. It was very enlightening because I found a lot of things in common with her grandfather that I realized like that I have. Because he has a love for photography. He's a tech head. Most old folk, all I know of them is they don't know nothing about phones. They still use the big old dial-up, the type joint. They don't know nothing. So to actually be talking to somebody, and he's like, "Yeah, I got an iPhone. I'm getting ready to get the iPhone 5 and stuff like that." I was like, "Whoa, like you old? You ain't supposed to be talking like this." So stuff like that is what really drew me into him. And I had just, like I brought it to Ash, and it was just like, I don't know what that love of a grandfather growing up is like. That's something I missed, and I asked her the question. I was like, I wonder what things I myself am missing from not having a grandfather in my life. Because we all hear about, you need a man in your life, you need a woman in your life. For men, you need to have that fatherly figure and that motherly figure to raise you up right. But we don't ever talk about the grandparents and what role they have in our life. So that's why I kind of wanted to just bring this up and just spark that conversation. So,
for me, my grandfather and my grandmother split up way before I was even thought about. And so I never have had the opportunity to really build a relationship with him. I can count on my hand how many times that I've actually seen him and been able to connect with him. But it was so awesome this weekend to be able to talk to him, to hear his story, his heart on where God has brought him from, and just to see right before me God's power moving to for reconciliation and restoration. And you can harbor things in your heart towards somebody, or you can choose to open up your heart and allow God's power to move through you and reconcile. And I believe that us being here is going to help open up so many doors for us and for them. But also, just me and my grandmother, our grandfather, shedded some tears today, talking about just where we've come from and how we've gotten to the point that we're in our lives today. But also, just two pivotal points in my life: when I got married and when I graduated from college. Even though he hasn't always been connected in my life, they made sure that they were there for those two very important moments, and that meant the world to me beyond anything that I think he'll ever know. It was an answer to prayers, because you want family to be there to support you, and I didn't have that much at the wedding, and didn't really have anybody outside from other states coming to my graduation either. And so for them to come all the way from Delaware to Colorado to be a part of my wedding and to be a part of me graduating from college was just show me how much love can conquer anything. And so I think, for me posting this, I would like to ask the question to everybody out there. Just ask yourself, or you can comment or anything. Just, what does the love of a grandfather mean? And this is a question I don't think we have answered, and this post is not about us answering that question. But what would have been different in our lives if we would have had more of a connection with our grandfathers? And now that we have an opportunity to connect with one, what is going to change about our lives? What's going to be different? What is God going to use to teach us? Because, grandparents have wisdom that go beyond the years that their experiences, especially those that grew up during the civil rights and the tough times that we never would experience.
Slavery.
That we would never experience. So it's, I've been poured into, and I have wonderful grandmothers, but it's just awesome to be able to be in a place where I'm able to connect this way now. And so I just really believe that each and every family dynamic God places there for a very specific reason. And the wise and the elderly are there in our lives for a reason. So why are grandfathers in our lives, or why do we need them to help us grow?
Yeah, and something else I'm gonna throw out there as another question is, or I guess kind of like a food for thought type piece. As another piece I mentioned to Ashley was, when my mom's dad, when he committed suicide, we don't know what he was dealing with, but it was that statement of, the repercussions of our sins, the repercussions for the things that we do. Like him committing suicide, he wasn't thinking of me. Like he wasn't thinking of the damage that his choices made and effects that it has on me. Because of what he did, I grew up grandfatherless, and I was missing a love and some teaching and some tools that I needed from him. But I love him, even though I don't know him. But to be real, he was selfish, and he was thinking about self without thinking of how it was going to affect everybody else. His daughter, his wife, his children, my aunts and uncles, and all his grandchildren. Like he wasn't thinking through all that. Again, I don't know what he was battling, but that's some of the repercussions of that. And some of the other pieces that I did experience that I didn't mention earlier was that my grandmother, she did remarry. And I had to deal with those battles because here's another man in my life who I did try to get to know him, but, but everybody in my family was dogging him because they're like, we don't know who this dude is. He's not my daddy. Like, that's all I know of him. And the time that I did try to spend with him, because of his age, he had some illnesses and stuff like that. Like, I really wasn't able to vibe with him. All I knew was that he liked fishing. He was one of them old dudes that just sat in the chair and just stared at you just like that. And he kind of shook, but I'll leave that alone. I don't want to dog him that much. But anyway, food for thought. What are your What choices, the choices you make today, think about how they affect others. So,
And just allow God, whatever you're dealing with too, in reconciliation or family issues of the past, let the past be the past, because we cannot change it. We cannot make it different, but we can choose how we respond today. So if you have an opportunity to reconcile with somebody in your family, if you have an opportunity to say something that you've never said or tell somebody that you love them, do it, because tomorrow is not promised. And if I never ever had more of a chance to connect with my grandfather or something happened, I am glad that I could say, in all my power, I did what I could to connect and build a relationship with him and allow my kids to experience that great grandfather love, because you don't always get those opportunities, because sometimes they do leave and pass on before you're able to get to know them. So I'm glad they're able to just experience even the snippet of that deep love that a grandparent, and then being a great grandparent, can show them, especially being here. They are yearning for that. So I'm glad to be surrounded by my grandfather, and then also my grandparents that I have in my two sets of grandparents that I have in not in Colorado, in North Carolina. So just challenge you with that as well, just to be able to reconcile and deal with those things in your heart, so that you can build the relationships that you have right in front of you today.
Call somebody and tell them you love them, and then give them a hug. All right, you turn the camera off. See ya. Turn it off. You started it.
Please, seriously.
All right, y'all. Peace.